Hey guys, welcome back to another Discord JS tutorial. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to blacklist a server or a guild from using a bot. The reason that we're going to create this command is, for example, you don't want a server to be able to use your bot, so you can just use this command to just blacklist it, and then it wouldn't be able to use any of your commands from your bot. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have mongodb set up already. So you should see a card pop up on the top right of the screen. If you don't have MongoDB set up, just click on that. Okay, so if you have it set up, you should have this model folder, or if you don't have this, just create it. It's pretty simple, just create a folder normally. Okay, and then just create a file called Blacklist Server JS, or you can call it anything you want. So we're just gonna require mongoose from mongoose. Alright, and then we can just do module.exports. Let me just say, yep, it's mongoose model. I don't know what I was thinking right there. Okay, so mongoose the model, and then you're gonna name this blacklisted servers, and then we're gonna do mongoose.schema. Alright, and then we're just gonna pass in the server. I'm pretty sure this is new. Yeah, this should be new. New mongoose.schema, and then server will be a string. Alright, that should be it. So just require mongoose, give it a name, and then just create a schema with only a property, which is server. So let's just move on. So we're gonna go into command section, and I'm just gonna create a new folder so we can locate our files easier. Of course, you can put these files into other folders. I'm just gonna create a new one at the JS, or I can just say blacklist at JS. Same thing over here. You're gonna do blacklist move the JS. Alright. So we're just gonna use the basic setup. It's large enough. Alright. So in here we're just gonna do blacklist add. Okay, and then the first thing you want to do is you want to check whether you are using the command, or because you don't want to let other people use this command. So we're just gonna go here, click on copy ID, and then you're just gonna do if message the alter the ID is not equal to this. This is your ID, your Discord ID, and then just return message or you can just say return. So if the person doesn't have any, it's not you. If the person isn't you, it will just ignore it, which is perfect. I'm just gonna do this the same thing for here, for remove. I'm just gonna change it remove. Alright, perfect. So let's just move on. So we're gonna require the model that we created earlier over in here by doing cons schema just require slash models. I'm gonna go in models and then slash and then go into blacklist servers. Alright. So the first thing you want to check if so the first thing you want to check if whether the guild ID actually exists. So we can do this by doing cons ID equals rx0. So if there is no ID, return message.reply. Please specify a guild ID. So if there is an ID provided, we're going to check it with the client.guild. So we can just do client.guilds.has catch.has, and then we're going to pass in the ID. Okay, we actually just cut this. Let me just do if there is no, if it returns false, just going to return message.reply. I am not in that server. Alright, so if it's an invalid ID, you're just gonna say I am not in that server. So if pass this check, and then we can now blacklist the server. So the next thing you want to do is you want to check if it's already been blacklisted. We can do this by doing schema.find1, and then we can just do server. This is correct. Okay, it's correct. So as you can see here in my models, I've defined it as server. So we're just going to do the same thing. Server will be the ID, and we're going to do asynchronous error data. So most probably there won't be any errors. So we're just going to focus on data. So if there is data return message.reply. You can just say this server has already been blacklisted before. Or else, if there's no data, we can just create a new data. It's really simple, just a new schema, passing server, and then passing ID. Alright, and then we can just add .save in here, and then we're just gonna send a success message. We can just do message.reply. Add a blacklisted a new server. Okay, so this is the add command. So it's pretty simple. Nothing really hard over here. Let's just move on to remove over here. Let me just copy the same thing. We can just put this in here. Alright. So let me see if there's anything. Yeah, I think we can copy this. Never mind. Let's just ignore that. Okay. So we can define ID again. arg0. There is no ID. Turn message to reply. Please specify an ID. Okay, we're gonna directly search in our database to check whether the server ID is in there. So you can do this by doing schema.find one server will be ID. You just give it a space async error data. Oops. Okay, so if there's no data, I'm just gonna return message to reply that guild ID does not exist in the database. So if the data exists, we can just delete data simply by doing data.delete, and then we can just say message.reply guild was unblacklisted. I don't know what the prefix is, but let me just say unblacklisted from successfully. Alright, so yeah, that should work. Okay, next we're gonna move on to message event, the place that we're gonna check for the guild ID. So we can just require the same thing. We can just require the blacklist equals require, and then we want to locate models. I'm pretty sure it's nope. Yep, it's just $/ and then models / and then you're gonna go back to blacklist servers. Alright. So in here we're gonna go into okay, you're gonna find for if command. So if there is a command, so in here we're just gonna do blacklist find one and then we're gonna do a wait in here, const blacklisted, okay, equals await blacklist of find one server message.guild ID. Okay, so if there is no data, if there is if blacklisted, return message or reply this server has been blacklisted by the owner. I'm gonna just say something like please contact the owner to get this problem solved or something like that. Alright, so this only happens when it runs a correct command, or else it wouldn't run. Okay, so yeah, let's just test this out. Okay. Alright, so the bot is now on. Let's just test this out. So let me just say I want to blacklist what's the command again? Blacklist and y blacklist at, and then I want to blacklist recon dev. Okay, blacklisted a new server or guild. So let me just check the command. I already forgotten the command. Let me just test if the ping command is here. Yep, the ping command is here. So if I go to my blacklisted server and I try to run the command, hopefully it will not allow it to run. So let me just do that. Ping. This server has been blacklisted by the owner. So if you type random messages, it won't respond. Only when you write the correct command, it's gonna say this. Please contact the owner to get this problem solved. So let's just say you are done with the blacklist. You want to remove the blacklist, so you can just simply do this by doing blacklist remove. So while blacklist remove, and then you're gonna pass in the server ID. Okay, guild was unblacklisted successfully. So if you go back in your server and you try to run the command, it should work now. You can see here it works. So yeah, that should conclude today's video on the blacklisting guild system. If you want to watch more Discord.js tutorials, stay tuned at the end. You see a playlist you can click on. There's tons and tons of video. Alright, have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye.